What's going on, everybody? It's your big homie, the Armchair Operator, and welcome to today's video. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you enjoyed today's content, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Become a part of the family. We would love to have you. And if you're coming back to my channel, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you also enjoy today's content. So as you saw in the title and in the thumbnail, today we are going to take a look at the Canik MC9 Prime. I got to admit, I'm a little late to the game on this one, y'all, but don't worry. We're going to dive into this particular piece really in just a few moments. But first, a bit of housekeeping. First and foremost, YouTube, I am not promoting or condoning the sale of any firearms. It's not what this channel is about. All of my videos are strictly for education and entertainment purposes only. Second piece of housekeeping, I got to give a big shout out to the team and the crew over at the Bunker Gun Shop for always supporting this channel. My guys Chris, my guys Frank Bank, the entire Bunker 1 and Bunker 2 team. Thank you so much for always supporting this channel. My apologies. And last and certainly not least, I got to give a shout out to my homie Joker 1016 for actually providing the Canik MC9 Prime. This thing right here, you see this thing, this right here for the video. But before we get started with anything, first, let me just verify clear real quick. You know, we got to show safety, y'all. Safety is important. Safety is always important, especially when you're handling one of these. Anyway, magazine clear, firearm is clear, magazine remove, safe direction, boom. Put the magazine back into the firearm for visual aesthetics, right? And we're filming in a safe, controlled environment. I just want to establish that first and foremost. All right, so first of all, the MC9 Prime. Now, like I said, I'm a little late to the game. The MC9 Prime came out. It's actually probably one of the hottest pistols to be released this year in 2025 as of recording this video. And it came out in SHOT Show, and of course everybody was hyped to get their hands on this. And actually I myself initially was kind of hyped to get this gun, but to be honest, your boy still doesn't have one in the collection. It was kind of strange. So let's rewind the clock a little bit. Let's go back to last year, SHOT Show 2024, when Canik unveiled the TTI Combat. Now, I, just like a lot of other people, was on the hype train for the TTI Combat. It's a Canik MC9 with rival-like aesthetics, and it has the Terran Tactical name on it. It's just like, it was just a win-win. So everybody was hyped on it. I got it. I actually ended up selling my damn SCAR. Long story. We're not even going to get into that right now. But I actually ended up selling my SCAR to help pay for the thing. Eventually got my hands on it. And while I overall enjoyed the TTI Combat, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed it. It left me a little bit lacking in certain areas, and I still say this to this day. As much as I enjoyed the TTI Combat, I reviewed the TTI Combat on this channel. If you haven't seen that video, please check that video out. I reviewed it. I liked it. I never had any problems with it, but I still say to this day that gun was overhyped. Sorry. Argue with your mammy, I don't care. That's just how I feel. This is my opinion. But again, like I said, it's not a bad gun. I really enjoyed the gun. Fast forward to this guy. So I bring all that all of that up to say this. While I was initially very intrigued and interested in getting my hands on a Prime, I got a little cold. I won't say cold feet, but my interest kind of waned a little bit. Then I was just kind of like, well, you know, I'll get my hand on it. I'll get my hands on it eventually. As I got other stuff that I wanted to do and get taken care of and so on and so forth. Fast forward to this point. So my buddy actually got his hands on one of these maybe about a few months ago now. So we was just talking. I was like, yo, let me get a chance to review it on the channel. So he was gracious enough to oblige. So story out of the way, we're going to do what we usually do. We're going to head on over to the tabletop. We're going to take a look at the specs and the features and with everything that this gun comes with. As you can see, we got a Holosun EPS carry on the top. It did not come with the gun. He added that later on. This is a green dot. Phenomenal dot, by the way. But like I said, we're going to go over the specs and the features. Then we're going to talk about my range experience. And then we're just going to come back over here and close this out. Hopefully I make this video quick enough so y'all can get on out of here and do what y'all need to do. But in order to do that, we got to head to the tabletop. So let's get started. Welcome to the review space. We have the Canik MC9 Prime here, or rather its box in all of its glory. So if you're familiar with the Canik rivals or the TTI Combat and so on and so forth, it's a very similar box, just a bit of a smaller footprint. But we didn't come here to look at the box. We came here to look at the firearm. So let's get this box opened up. Get that opened up. All right. So, all right, here you go. Boom. Like I said, similar to the Canik rivals and the TTI combats of old. And you got your interchangeable back straps here. And of course, you got your little mini Canik tool that has your bits and everything like that. If you want to take your mount, your optics, or do any type of maintenance on the Canik MC9 Prime. And of course, we have our owner's manuals and paperwork and stuff and things and stuff and safety and so on and so forth. But we just gonna set all that to the side and get to the main attraction, which is the firearm. All right, so this is how it comes packaged. One thing you got to give Canik credit for, they do make an effort to give you a holster, so that way you can buy the firearm and you got yourself an inside the waistband holster, which I believe this is swappable to make it outside the waistband, but you get a holster right from the gate. And I will say that this holster, let's remove the firearm real quick. This holster feels like it's of better quality than the holsters that come with both the rival SFX and the TTI, in my opinion. I think this is a little bit better than those, but hey, appreciate Canik for definitely looking out for the consumer on that note. But anyway, let's take a look at the firearm again. We just going to show clear again. Magazine is empty, chamber is empty, safe direction. All right, cool. So let's start with the magazine. So this particular firearm comes with two 17-round magazines. Now this is the actual subcompact footprint. Now here's the thing about this particular gun that I think is really, really nice, in case some of y'all didn't know. This firearm takes the standard Canik SFX TP9 Rival-S magazines, and I have one from my Canik rivals. So this is the 18-round magazine with the +2 extension, then make this a 20-round magazine. This is YouTube compliant. Again, no rounds in the magazine, but we put it in the firearm and it seats properly. So there you go. So that's one of the great things about this footprint, even though it's considered a micro 9 because it's really slim form factor, right? It could take the standard magazine. So I think that's really dope. Magazine compatibility. Oh, and let me just show you. Yes, you get locked back too. So that just goes to show you that it works just fine. So that's really cool. That's something that I think is really attractive about this platform. Now, let's talk about some other features that really makes this platform attractive, namely the sights. So the sights up here, we have a 3-dot setup. Canik calls these the Tritium Fission night sights. Not sure if you can pick up the sight picture there. I'll try to get it in the camera as best I can. And with that RMSC footprint, as you can see, you got a nice little lower 1/3 co-witness with that hollow sun. So that combined with the green dot is a really great setup. I like this a lot. And let's move on down. So here is the star of the show for the Canik MC9 Prime. You got these 3 ports here. You got like a nice little 3-chamber port. And I would assume that that is about the 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and about the 10 o'clock positions roughly on the barrel. So on, kind of, sort of, kind of. But anyway, this will give you a better picture of that. So you got these 3 little ports here. Now, I will say this, I have shot the previous iterations of the Micro 9 Caniks. I believe it's the LS and the LS Edge respectively. While those were good shooting guns, they did feel a bit snappy. It wasn't anything really outrageous, but they were a bit snappy. These ports do tame the recoil of this particular gun by quite a bit. So they really do its job. I have seen people open these ports up a bit to give it a bit more of a softer recoil impulse. But from the factory, personally, I think it's pretty good. But then again, I'm used to shooting a SIG fuse, so take that for what you will. Moving on from there, we got the Prime logo here. We got a nice little opening cut on the slide, aggressive slide serrations, which is really good, especially when you got your dot over here. If you want to come up underneath and rack, you can do. If you want to come over the top and rack, you can do that. We also have, it's basically a fully ambi lower. You know, you got your memory pads here, nice little texture on both sides. You got your takedown button here, nice long slide catch, slide release over here. It's really good. Another thing that I really like about this platform, that they actually give you a Picatinny rail, which unlike some firearms, Western, some of their firearms in the subcompact category or the Micro 9, they don't really give you a Picatinny rail at all. They just started adding a Picatinny rail with their newest iteration of the Shield, but that's a story for a different day. Anywho, another big selling point for the Mate Prime has to be this trigger. This trigger is very similar to that of the trigger on the Rival S, and the TTI. It has the same wide gold shoe as you will see on the TTI Combat, the same color and everything like that. Now, that being said, it's a phenomenal trigger. First of all, let's go to trigger. Okay, we on the wall right now. There's the break and the reset right there. So I will say this, running this particular gun on the range, it's fast. It's fast. I really like that because of the short reset, the nice clear defined wall. You can really get some good shots off pretty quickly. And with these ports up here in the top, like I said, it tames the snap down by a lot. So this thing is actually very fun to shoot, especially for a Micro 9. And Micro 9s, at least to me, don't really tend to be too fun to shoot for the most part. So let's move on from there. Oh, like I said, the trigger is not exactly the same, like as far as the pull weight. I didn't really measure it just yet, but if I had to guess, I would say it's around 5-ish pounds. But you know what? Let me fire up the trigger pull gauge real quick. I'm not trying to keep y'all all night, but let me just fire up the trigger pull gauge because I'm pretty sure y'all might be curious. So we're gonna put that in there. So that's about 4.76, I want to say. All right, let's try that again. See what we working with. Oh, shoot, triggers. That's about 4.5, so just under 4.2, and we'll do one more, just to get a nice little average going. And that was 4.49. So basically you got a 4.5 pound trigger pull, which for a Micro 9 EDC style firearm, I think that's more than sufficient. All right, moving on from there. Nice texture, the full length of the grip, which I think is really good. Big ups to Canik on that one. And of course, you got the texture on the back strap. And this back strap, I'm not really sure which back strap this is. If I were to guess, this is the medium back strap. Even with this back strap, I gotta say this grip just kind of melts in my hand, and I have rather large hands. I wear basically double XL gloves just to give you an idea. And the length of pull for me is actually decent. So I would be, if I own this particular firearm, I would be more than comfortable with rocking with just this back strap. I think it's really good. And of course, you got the texture up front and the magwell. The good thing about the magwell is that it gives you that little bit of pinky support. So that way you can really just grip this firearm and it just points so naturally. And one thing that I'm really glad that Canik did with the MC9 Prime is this magazine release. So I don't know if you could tell, there's a slight bevel. There's a slight curve to that magazine release. I'm not getting a very good angle on that, but it's a slight bevel. So under fire, it doesn't really rub my hand anywhere nearly as much as the TTI Combat. That was one of my drawbacks with the TTI Combat, and I think other people had it as well, was because the magazine release it was like so squared off. Under recoil, it just kind of was like cheese grater to your thumb after a while, and you really do feel it. But running this Prime, we didn't have no issues with that. But anyway, just to kind of finish off with the box here, you have your usual aesthetics. You got your tools here. You got your punch. You need to drop the roll pin out for the back strap. You have your cleaning, I guess your cleaning rod here, and then you have your brush, and then you have, this looks like the back plate for the actual holster itself. I don't need to take that guy out, so you all get the idea. But all in all, that's basically it far as what the TTI Combat comes with out of the box. So hey, let's head on over to the range and let's see how this thing runs. Welcome to the range portion review. We got the Canik MC9 Prime here with that Hollow Sun EPS carry. I got myself a little silhouette target out there at 10 yards, and we're just going to get a feel for the Canik Prime and just see what it's hitting for. All right, so enough talking. Let's do some shooting. The highest prize of 124 grain Blazer Brass, 115 grain Madtech, in case y'all was curious about the ammo I'm running in this thing. And we going right here with it. First impressions, pretty good. My shots were going a little bit low. I didn't check the zero on it. Like I said, it's not really mine, so I'm not trying to change the zero or anything like that. But it's pretty soft so far. Let's check the target. Let's get a good up close look on that target. Okay. Looks like we threw one, but the rest of them pretty tight. Let me see if I can get this thing fixed right, y'all. I ain't expected to turn on me like that. Be back in a second. All right, I think I got this thing fixed. So let's run another mag through it. Same as last time. That was pretty solid. Let's check the target. And it did it again. Hold on. Let me see if I can fix it this time. Man, this thing crazy. Anyway, pretty consistent throughout. I mean, the Prime, she's a horse for sure. I mean, as far as subcompact micro pistols go, those really tame that snap down by quite a lot. Ergonomically speaking, out of all the micro compacts that I've shot so far, the Prime holds the top spot in my opinion. Now that's saying a lot because I'm a very big fan of the Shield Plus, especially the Shield Plus carry comp. But so far, I would say it's pretty good. Now we're gonna try a little bit of experiment. I have a 20 round magazine, Canik magazine leftover from my Rival S. I'm gonna run that in there and see if it'll run. And then I also have a SIG P226 magazine I'm gonna run in there and see if that'll run. If y'all recall from the last video I made about my 226X5, I was running Canik mags in that, but the only thing about that was I didn't get any lockback, which is to be expected because the follow is a little bit different. But let's see how those magazines run in the Prime. And I'm gonna change the angle up a little bit too, so that way you can see a little bit more of the Prime while it's doing this thing. So hold that thought. First up, Rival, full-size 20 round Rival magazine. It fits. It chambers. And it shoots. Not bad. Let's check the target. My groups opened up a little bit. That's all grip. All right, now that I finally got this thing situated, as I was saying, my groups opened up a little bit, but that's all me. That's all support hand. For the most part, pretty tight. It runs the full-size Canik mags as advertised, and I got lockback as advertised. Let's do some strong hand weekend, and then we're gonna head on back to the review space. We're gonna put the target up here at 5 yards. We're gonna do 5 shots per string, starting with the strong hand. Then we're gonna transition to the weak hand, and then we're gonna do 2 hands and just finish out the magazine. All right, so let's get to it. Like to see it? Here we go. Now we're just gonna finish out the mag. Woo! Outstanding. Is it gonna turn on me? Yeah, I knew that shit was coming. So this is the overall end result. This is what we're looking at. Pretty tight through these, but you know, all in all, so far, the Prime is pretty damn nice micro carry, if I gotta say so. Granted, this is not a 500 round burn down review. This is just essentially my initial impressions. But so far, I think the Prime is pretty damn dope. But let's head on back to the review space and let's close this thing out. So, to sum things up, the MC9 Prime is a very enjoyable gun to shoot for something that is in the micro compact form factor. Like I said before earlier in the video, I think running this gun is far more comfortable of a shooting experience versus its predecessors, the MC9 and the MC9 LS. I think that's what it's called. The non-comp versions, the ones that came out last year. Y'all get what I'm saying. I think that this particular gun in this configuration could actually compete with some other larger compact models. I didn't have any issues on the range. I mean, I didn't put a whole lot of rounds through this particular firearm, but I have put about maybe about 150 to 200 rounds through it on my own. I won't be able to do a 1,000 round burn down, of course, because this is not mine. However, I will say this: if you all would like to see a 1,000 round review or would like to see this particular firearm on the channel, let me know down in the comments section. And to be perfectly honest, this is actually on my radar. And so, my man Frank, if you're watching, you already know. If you're watching, just saying, I might need to hit you up about this one, seriously, in the near future. But anyway, I think this is a dope build. I think it's very comfortable. I think that for the price point, this would be a good option for you if you were looking to get into something like this. I also think that paired with this Holosun EPS Ronin, it's a very good fit. I even think that the Olight O-Sight SC, the one that I have on my Shield Plus, I think that this will also be a great fit for this too. Speaking of that, so this is my Shield Plus carry comp. Firearm is empty, magazine is empty. Gonna put that back in for aesthetics. So this is one of my summertime EDC carries, and this is kind of what I meant before when I said I really liked about the TTI, where they give you like a Picatinny rail. This is kind of the older way, the older school versions of the Shield Plus system. Smith & Wesson, they don't really give you a Picatinny rail, although they do have lights that will fit this frame. A Picatinny rail would have been better. My point is this: I was thinking about doing a versus video between these particular two guns. I mean, both are micro 9s, both are ported, and they actually have similar style red dots. So if y'all would like to see a versus between these two, definitely let me know down in the comment section as well. let me know. I think that a versus between these particular firearms would be very good. Just right off the hop, I'm going to say that this feels more ergonomic in the hand than this one. The triggers, I think this trigger is a little bit better than this one, but the Shield Plus triggers are very good triggers. But anyway, if you want to see a more in-depth comparison versus video, let me know down in the comment section. I will definitely make that happen for y'all. But all in all, like I said, I think this is a solid firearm, and I just might be adding it to the channel. So what are your experiences with the Canik MC9 Prime? Let me know down in the comment section, y'all. Let's talk about it. Let's rapid taste. And as always, I appreciate you all for taking the time to watch this video. This is your big homie, Armchair Operator. I'm signing out, man. Peace.